Ron,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
Jerry,
Here.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, the open meetings act is supposed to go all over there. Approve July 10th meeting minutes. You guys all read those? Okay. Need a motion to approve them?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second? Helen?
Roll call?
Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yep.
Helen,
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
and Jerry.
Yes.
Number 4, approve mayor's appointment of Officer James Collins as the City of Atkinson interim chief of police at $35 per hour with no benefits.
We have no other applicants at this time. I guess I make a motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
I will.
Okay.
Okay, discussion. When you say interim, that's part-time, correct?
Correct.
Yes,
For how long?
as long as we need an interim chief.
Okay, and, you know, when Dave gets released to come back to work, is that any grounds to reconvene and discuss it?
Well, we.
I could say it could be discussed, but Dave is gonna have to apply for the chief's position. If that's the way I understand the law.
Is that the way that it's written in the city handbook?
It's equal employment opportunity, it's an advertised position, so it has to be opened up for applications, so everybody has to apply.
What does it say under if the current chief of police is
You
terminated?
do not automatically get the chief of police if you are an officer or a sergeant. I actually checked with the league lawyer on this. According to the league lawyer, that would be, then in O'Neill or Norfolk or anywhere, then it would be an automatic thing, and they all apply, and then they interview, and then they're selected. So it is not an automatic. If the chief of police is on vacation or whatever, yes, then the sergeant steps up and he is the acting chief of police. But it is not an automatic appointment if the chief of police resigns.
Yeah, he wasn't terminated, he resigned.
Permission to approach all of you and address you? What in the hell are you doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of scuttlebutt going around and nobody knows the facts.
Unless it's the coffee shop top bullshitters club.
There's a lot of that.
I know.
There's a lot of that. But I wanna know why someone who has served this community,
He can't do this right now. He is on workman's comp. He is unable to do this. The sheriff in O'Neill asked us to appoint an interim chief to cover the duties until Dave gets better.
which is how long?
That's up to his doctors, not us.
Okay, I think he could probably answer that question.
Well, it's not in there,
Dave,
That's why this
sorry,
meeting was.
I want everything out in the open.
Yeah,
But
that's
the
the
question
best.
I can't answer is not a good answer.
Alright.
You told me you're going in tomorrow
Yeah.
to get a checkup and you possibly will be back Monday.
Right,
Now, why don't you say that instead of leaving it,
because everybody knows that, that's why this meeting was brought in on a
until
Thursday.
you told me I
I know you did. That's
And
why
I'm trying to be
I know, I
open
understand.
here with everything.
But that's,
Yeah.
my feeling is that's why the personnel board or whatever called this meeting on Thursday, knowing tomorrow I may get released, so.
Absolutely.
That had
not.
absolutely nothing to do with it.
not.
I had no idea you had a doctor's appointment day Friday.
We,
Do you guys always
we just-
regularly have meetings on Thursdays?
This is a special meeting. We
That's-
needed to get this done. Like I said, this has went on now. Dave has told us twice now, he's gonna be released on Friday. and it didn't happen. His doctor didn't release it, and that's not his fault, that's not anybody's fault. We need somebody here that can do our chief's job for part-time, and I don't understand why all the bull up and the rhetoric and everything else
That's
on doing it.
misinformation. I've never told the council that I would be back on any Friday, except possibly this Friday.
Well,
This
the
is
last
the
time,
first
the
Friday.
last time we had a meeting here, you was to have a doctor's appointment
Yes.
Friday and would possibly be
Exactly.
released.
This is the Friday,
Okay,
And we
and I
we
will
want
find out Monday.
that to happen in an application for full-time chief and move on.
beyond the scuttlebutt and beyond this position, I don't live in city limits, so I have no voting rights, and everyone's aware of that. But I see employees quitting, and those that haven't quit are probably thinking about it.
Excuse me.
I see people unhappy, being mistreated, not being appreciated. What are you doing?
Excuse me, we had one employee quit. The Monday night before the Wednesday that he walked in and quit, he was praised for the work he done. He was patted on the back. He was told
You've had
numerous times.
one
Now listen,
employee quit,
wait, that's all.
recount.
One employee. Okay, tell me who I'm missing.
Who are you counting?
Charlie.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Larby? Grant?
Okay, now, have you talked to Larry? Because unless Tim is telling you something and me something, he has quit because he's tired of coffee shop talk, taxpayers talk about the cops doing nothing. He's tired of dealing with Dave, he's tired of dealing with Grant. Now, whether he'll back that statement up, I do not know, Pam. But we are in the middle of the crap. And it's time for the shit to come out and people to own up to what they're saying. I asked Dave to be.
Okay, I
'Cause there's a lot
did
of
talk to
people-
Tim.
there's a lot-
And none of
wait a
those things
second.
that you said came out.
He told
What
it,
did come out
he told it
was
to me all.
personnel issues.
He told it to me.
Okay, personnel issues. Is that the city council?
It's you
Or is
guys.
that Dave and Grant?
It's you guys.
That's what I was told. Sorry, Grant, sorry, Dave. But if we're gonna lay our cards on the table, somebody get a phone out
He told me,
and call
he
Larby.
told me the same exact thing, just him and I talking. He told me the same exact thing that he told Ron.
So if he's telling you one thing, he's telling us something else.
Okay, well, he might be telling other people other things, and he might not be comfortable telling you that to your
And as
face.
far as shake-ups
So-
in our other departments, Pam,
But do,
you
do,
do you
the,
want the
do
whole-
the math
do
on
you-
here. Do the math at how quickly people are leaving.
do you want the
Okay.
whole truth on everything that's going on? Do you want everything out? You will understand if you want to publicize, we can probably do that. We can't mention names. We got people that are watching movies on their phone. We've got people that are sitting on their phone for hours and hours and hours. We got people that don't want to do their job, they don't show up. And we're not supposed to ever say anything?
And that is the case in any workplace in America.
And we're not
in
supposed to
Atkinson.
say anything?
No, you are supposed to say anything, but ask yourself, are you fostering your employees? Or are you pandering?
We're
them?
asking them to do the job they're hired to do. I've had this conversation with the past president or the past mayor for years.
Okay,
We let people do whatever they want to do because number one, it's been done that way for 50 years and you can't change it.
you're
Yeah.
working for the community.
Absolutely.
You're voted in by the community.
Absolutely.
And you are doing what's in the best interest of the community.
Right.
Right?
Making
Okay,
employees work for the wage they signed up to do.
Absolutely, I get that.
I see where you're one-sided here. I can see that.
Oh, I'm not one-sided.
Oh, yes, you are.
No, I'm
Yes,
not
you are.
one-sided. And actually,
Yes,
this
you are.
has more to do with the police department
Yeah,
from
yeah.
a work perspective than it does anything else.
Yeah, we went through a tough time with, if you want to say, we went through a tough time with the maintenance department. A lot of feelings were hurt, a lot of things were said. I think we're on the mend, I think we're on a good point of going on future and working past
Yes.
And I
dirt.
agree with that 100%.
So what
But
are
I
you
think
doing
if you
here
think
not-
that
not
this is
on
on
us?
that this is about that,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I don't give a shit if you ride the hell out of him. I don't care. This isn't about that. This is about appreciation for someone that serves our community. Appreciation for someone that lives here, has a business here, has children in our
So
school.
what are you asking? Can I ask you that? What are
I
you
don't-
asking?
I
right
don't
now?
understand why Dave Mincer cannot automatically be the chief of
Cause
police.
that's not
Okay, let's
the
make
way
him
it works.
interim chief and it shows he's working, then he's kicked off workman's comp. Okay, solved.
Yeah, well,
Next.
there's a lot, yeah, there's a lot
But,
of
but
things that
it
we'd like
doesn't,
to
there's
do, but
way
we
more
can't.
than that
Okay.
that happens. And you can work while you're on workman's comp. That is a
Can you?
misconception.
Just call me today, I can be on light duty, I called my adjuster today, I can be on light duty and be on workman's comp.
I have not
I have
gotten
been an employer
I
for
haven't
17 years. With all due respect, Shelley, I am addressing the council and the mayor. Contrary to
asked
what the
me.
entire population in Atkinson assumes right now, you don't run the show and you don't advise them.
In that comment, you are wrong.
She comments on things that we asked her to look
But
at.
she doesn't advise and she doesn't counsel you. And I'm addressing you guys. And I want to
That
know
don't even make
why.
sense, ma'am.
That,
And I'm not gonna sit here and take it. I asked her for a question and answer. She gets it for me.
Okay,
That's
she,
all
I'm
that
telling
lady
you,
does.
she gave you the wrong answer.
She did. How do you know? What do you know the question was?
He can do
Dave,
light
Dave, come on,
duty.
speak up. You speak, not her. Come
When
on.
I get my light duty deal, whenever.
What
that
is cop light duty? What is cop light duty? You're gonna drive around, do nothing? You're gonna
We
sit in
already
the office,
discussed
do
it.
nothing?
Going
What?
to do the same thing he's gonna do.
Oh, you're saying
Do the
Jimmy
paper-
isn't doing his
no.
job now?
No, he's going to do the paperwork for the part-time people, just as that. There is like.
So why don't you apply for interim chief? You knew this was coming up, and I talked to you, and I
Well,
told
because
you that
I'll
I
tell
would
you-
tell
I'll
you
tell
to
you
your
why.
face the same thing I'll tell you to your
Yeah,
back.
I'll tell
This
you.
is the kind of shit that I told you that you're gonna lose my vote because I don't like people two-timing.
I'm not two-timing anybody.
Well,
I was
you're
told-
definitely a pot stirrer.
Okay, I was told by the mayor several times that if
About
I get
what?
on light duty, I would be appointed.
He's next
As
in line
of
as
the
the
day that
book
he
it
came
shows.
to my house.
But he's not.
he's not next in line.
He's
The
not.
book says, in absence of the chief, he assumes the duties of the chief.
Right.
Yes, that's what we
I
did.
wish that one
That's
Does
the
not
way
make
I read
him-
it.
That
Wish
does
I
not
could
make
get
him
Lardy
chief.
on the
No,
phone.
make him like the interim chief.
But he can appoint, just as you're appointing him,
But
me,
he's
if I
not
was on
off
light duty.
workman's
If you
comp.
are on light,
Exactly.
but we have nothing, we have no application from you, we have no doctor's thing that says you can do this,
Exactly.
Dave.
I know that.
That's why we're doing this. What's the problem with what we're doing
I'm saying.
until you're cleared?
Well, first thing is, I've been here for 20 years.
I know you've been here 20 years.
I get injured in the line of duty protecting the mayor,
Yeah.
and I have no support from anybody on here. Ron came over and visited with me, and that's it. That is pitiful.
I just want us to get along. I am so tired of this. I really thought the maintenance side, we were past all that, past everything, and we were
Yeah, they're
building
doing
to
good.
it. I really thought we were doing really good.
You are doing really
And
good.
Chris, I hope I'm reading this right. I really do. I hope that we're green. Maybe you guys don't believe that. I do not know. And as far as Dave, if we appoint Jimmy tonight, that's why I ask, is this a part-time thing? I'm told Jimmy does not want full-time chief. He wants interim only. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
At this point?
Yes.
And I wanna work with everybody, that's why I asked, what does interim mean, which should be
And
part-time.
I'm glad you asked that
And
question.
I'm just, this arguing is gotta stop, guys.
But if he's cleared tomorrow, do you have to wait for another meeting or do you
That
have
was
to?
the, I proposed that question, I don't know. I can't answer that.
That is-
I go to White's in the morning and I get ripped. And it's all by past councilmen and past mayors. They didn't have the answers then. They wouldn't address the problems that we did as this sitting council. And now we're the bad people and he's got all the answers now.
I understand that. And
It's
that's when you
awful.
hand him one of those complaint forms and tell him to fill it out and sign their name and you'll address it.
Yeah, I don't like a complaint form because it shouldn't be a complaint form, it could be a question. It's a bad terminology.
The complaint form could end a lot of things right there, because
I
nobody
don't-
wants to sign their name on the dotted line.
And you're probably right. I got 4 calls today from people that's reading the internet, Facebook, and the information is on there about everything. But I don't see any one of the names that I was told that is posting that stuff sitting in the seats tonight. But they're pot stirrers. They didn't get their way in the past, so they are mad. And I think the world of Dave. I looked Dave in the eye and I told him that you come to me as wanting the chief of police job. I'll listen to you. I'll vote for you. But don't come and tell me I won't do this. I'm not authorized to do that. And I'm not gonna do this and I'm not gonna do that. Cause I will not vote for you, correct?
It's only on one issue.
You know, and that's where I stand.
And I understand that, and I get that you guys are not gonna agree on every single thing, no one should, and that's why you guys are all in the position that you are in. I just wanted a question answered as to why.
Well, I think, in my
And
opinion.
I think you guys pretty much answered that for me. I wanted to put it out there that I would think very lowly of you if you didn't put more esteem in someone that has not only served our community in the employment aspect, but as a family member, as a business owner, as a father, as a coach, as a mentor. That's gotta have a little weight.
I'm afraid to say anymore.
To move
Because
on,
if it
to move
doesn't,
on with this.
if it doesn't have any weight with you guys, there's a lot of volunteerism that's gonna come to a screeching halt.
You're trying to blackmail us?
I'm absolutely not blackmailing you.
It sounds like it.
That is not blackmail.
Why?
I'm just saying, if you guys are, if you are sending the message that none of that, all of that stuff is meaningless,
No.
then why do it in the first place?
So what is volunteering?
That is a very easy message that is not construed as blackmail.
Pam, what does hiring Jimmy as an interim police chief have to do with volunteer people? Tell
No
me.
disrespect to Jimmy as hiring him for an interim police chief. I believe he's probably very suited for the job and will do a very good job at it. I just didn't want to see Dave take a back seat because
want
of
that.
this decision.
Nobody wants that.
I think everybody just, it's a high emotion subject. And I honestly don't think that this is a part-time thing to get things started. When Dave gets released,
To fill in the
then
blanks.
a guy can go back and revisit everything, you know, I shouldn't say it, but you know me, I get something in my head, and I just can't say it. It would help a lot if Dave wasn't so negative. He is a half glass empty type of guy, he just.
Really?
Yes, you are, Dave.
Really?
I am so sorry, I love you to pieces, but you're a half glass empty type of guy.
And that's just a personality thing.
I
We still love
understand
you
that.
and you're a giant douchebag.
But
Thank
when we,
And thank you very much. Yeah.
To move on with.
You got anything to say,
situations,
Chris?
Can we just get the details that we have to have?
We need to be done.
Hey,
I'd like to make one statement though.
what's that?
On my evaluation, the first thing that Councilman Asher said, you're getting a quarter raise because Tim isn't doing his job.
No, I
Yeah,
said because
I
you
recorded it. I
guys were
recorded
we didn't feel you guys were doing your job.
No, he said you were getting a quarter raise because Tim wasn't doing his job. I got it on recorder.
That's not what I said.
It is exactly what you said.
No, I didn't. If it is, I misspoke, Dave.
So you don't
Why
think
would
I should be a little
Why
negative
would
on
I
that?
tell you? We didn't feel that either one of you were doing your job. And if we wanna get into that,
Please,
we can
Mr.
start
Mayor.
bringing some evidence up that you two were not doing your job. So,
please.
when was the last time you filed reports?
Is it in my file at all?
So,
I don't drive around and hassle people just to write reports.
we, at this time, as I understand it, if we needed a grant to get money for this department, we cannot get it. Because the state has no reports from us.
And you know what the problem was
So-
with that? Is because we had a chief that didn't, and Grant couldn't go vouch for this. We had a chief that didn't wanna do none of this.
Do you vouch for that, Grant?
I can't say what Tim did or didn't do.
We didn't go for anything.
Is that all Tim's responsibility, Dave?
I never
it is.
filled out a grant.
He's the chief that has to sign it. There's all kinds of stuff out there that we could apply for, but it's not free. It's 50%, 75%, and that's not an issue right now. That was back then when Tim was doing it. I'm not gonna take the blame for what Tim did. So, and I think that's only fair. Isn't it? He was the chief. Ron knows exactly how Tim was if you bucked him on anything or questioned him.
His wife gets mad at you.
You get pissed at him.
If you wanna talk about our employee evaluation, Dave, Shelley was reminding you of something that we reminded all police that you cannot do. It was not pointed at you. And you,
I knew exactly what that was.
you
It was
and
because
Paul,
Mr.
Mayor
Schultz-
Paul got into an argument because
Exactly.
he was
You question my
questioning.
integrity, you're gonna have an argument.
And you was questioning Shelley, you was blaming Shelley. All she was doing was conveying what she has been told
Mr. Scholes.
by
seen
people
me-
above her.
Mr. Scholes seen me over there at the courthouse doing court security. That has to be the only way. So we had a
That was not-
conversation about moonlighting. You said, hey, moonlighting, we're all friends. I said, yeah.
That's,
So the next,
that's not what brought it up, Dave.
well, anyhow,
That's not
if
what
you
brought
done
it
your
up.
Let's have
research,
her,
you've seen.
let's have her say something. Get them up here and say what you wanna say.
That's not your.
Sorry, I'm dirty.
You ain't the only one in this
Yeah.
place.
I've known Dave for a long time. I was in law enforcement for 11 years. I was a certified officer. I applied for a job here. I was told that I needed to move on and get more training. I did that. I moved to a bigger department. Later on, I found out it was because I was a female. Not a big deal. I was injured in the line of duty. I was actually in my patrol car working an accident when I was rearing it at 50 miles an hour. I had 2 shoulder surgeries, my spine fused. I had several injuries from it. I was on light duty when I was an officer, just to answer your question as far as what an officer does on light duty on workman's comp.
Was
I-
you out on patrol?
What's that?
On light duty, was you out on patrol?
No, I was in the office. I did a lot of paperwork. I did stuff for grants. I ran dispatch because before I was an officer, I was a dispatcher for several years. I did that as I was dispatching calls that came in that officers necessarily wouldn't need to have to go to that call. Where I was an officer, I handled that call just over the phone. At some point, my bike was stolen. Hey, we had a dog complaint. Whatever, I handled that stuff. So to answer your question to what an officer does on light duty, I did office work, paperwork, which police chief, that's usually what you do. Filled out grant applications. To go off what he said about doing traffic stops to get grants, that is very true. Going through my workman's comp situation, I found out that the Yankton Police Department used my stats for grants. They figured out that my average yearly contacts was over 2,000. I actually have that in paper to prove that if anybody ever wants to contest that. It was regular at night. I could easily get 2 DUIs. I ran patrol. I was trained in drug interdiction and DUI training, so that's mainly what I consisted of as far as traffic law. There is a big drug problem between this town and through the highway that goes through it. I see it from my training. I see rental cars going up and down the road that I can guarantee you. Eastbound, they got a load of dope on them, and they're coming west, they got a load of cash. There's probably a lot of traffic stops that could happen in this town. From the last meeting when it was brought up with young kids on 4-wheelers and side-by-sides pulling their lawnmower, don't have an issue with that. They're working, they're doing a good job, they're staying busy, they're not doing bad things. The problem I have is when people want them licensed, and I see all of the unlicensed vehicles around town, especially up at the school and hospital, and a lot of it is a simple cop pull up to you, hey, I ran your plate, you know, I see it's licensed, you still have your sticker on, can you throw a sticker on it quick? Oh, yeah, sure, probably in the glove box, or something, probably are, 9 times out of 10 they are. It's just little situations, you don't have to fill out a ticket, but when you get back to the office, you put in your, I don't know what you guys use for a police program, you type in your verbal contact, that's your contact. You can easily round out hundreds of calls and contacts. It's simple to do, that's something Dave could do when the guys, I don't know if they paper, handwrite, what they do at night, he can enter that stuff in for your guys' calls for grants and stuff like that. But there is stuff you can do on light duty, it's not that hard.
I don't, so, I think that's maybe a little bit, part of the issue is that's maybe a little bit cart before the horse. I mean, Dave, have you been cleared for light duty even?
Awesome, I got light duty, I got cleared on my ankle, cleared on my shoulder,
Okay,
waiting on the back doctor tomorrow, and that's.
okay. And I think, guys, that's, if I can kind of, I was with Chuck in that meeting when Sheriff Matchett said, you guys really need to appoint an interim chief. And, so, you know, Mr. Collins put the application in. In my opinion, I really don't think it had anything to do with the fact that you had a doctor's appointment coming up. This was the first application that was made. This was as quick as we could get a public meeting together to get someone appointed in that role. It's not a permanent position. Jimmy, I don't think you have any interest in permanent chief.
Sounds part-time.
You know, and so, I encourage you to make an application for the position, Dave. But I guess from my perspective, that's just,
Thank you.
it probably the case that there are some things that can be done on light duty, but as we sit here tonight, I don't think that clearance, and hopefully that'll be tomorrow, or as soon as possible after that.
And that's what I was told. I was told many times that if I get cleared tomorrow, then I will be. So I guess that's not the process. The mayor chooses, and you guys approve. It's not the other way around. That's state law.
So, application? Is it we- and-
I would have if I'd have known that was something that was going to have to be all of a sudden tonight. But it is kind of a coincidence that we do have a Thursday night meeting right before. So anyway, so that just puts me out of the game anyhow. So Monday, if I do get released, I'll come back in, I'll do life service, I'll do code enforcement, I'll go over to the houses that have grass over 8 inches long, you know, stuff like that, whatever it needs to be done. But by law, I can work on workers' comp.
Well, Dave, your goal is to be chief, correct?
I don't ever want to be chief. I've told that to Ron 50 times. But we've got to have a head here somewhere. We got to have something that's going on. That's what I wanted to do, was just have Tim was the lightning rod. Everything that you guys had that came to you, came to Tim, and then bounced off onto me and Grant.
Well, if you don't have interest in chief, what's our argument here?
Because I want to be back in, and that's what I was told. When Tim's gone, I don't think I automatically deserve to be chief. But after 20 years of the dedication that I put into this community,
We've never said you would be out of a job at any point in time.
as soon as I get off workman's comp, I'm pretty sure there'll be some issues brought up or instances.
Absolutely not.
I don't know.
I have no confidence.
I can say, we have had more applications for part-time shifts than we've approved, and that's because we're counting on you being able to start work again as soon as you're cleared.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my question on that is also, I had 2 guys call. I had Dave Ertz apply, he was denied. I had a Rock County guy apply, he was denied, because he says we're at our limit for positions. There is no limit for part-time positions anywhere on any roster in the state of Nebraska.
Well, it's not a limit. Certainly you can
It's
have.
gotta be just our city limits.
Certainly you can have as many on your roster as you want. The issue is, with Fair Labor Standards Act, if you get above 4 officers on your roster, you're obligated under federal law to pay overtime.
Section 5,
and
that we're on south, is 5.
It's 4 or more. And so that's not within the budget to be able
Who
to,
would we have though?
to do that.
He's part-time, he qualifies as part-time, it's actually 5 full-time officers. We had 3 the longest time, me, Grant, and Tim, and that's why we didn't qualify for any overtime.
I believe, and we've got an opinion from employment attorneys that I used to work with, that really know their stuff in terms of federal employment law.
The federal law, right now, that's what it says,
That it's,
but anyhow.
so that's the answer to the
Right.
question, it just can't afford to be paying, overtime in the budget. And so it wasn't that I think Ertz was denied necessarily, it was, you're one of those and we're counting on as soon as you're able to come back to work.
And that the opportunity between what we were going to try to do is have 3 full-time and then 2 part-time to take over, so we don't have the problems where we're working 216 hours. But the part-time guys, they don't qualify they don't matter under any of that. It's 5 full-time people.
I guess my legal opinion is I disagree with that.
Well, that's what the
And-
federal law is.
Well, and I think we have a disagreement as to the interpretation of that
Well,
law.
it's pretty clear what I've got it actually out of the Department of Labor. That's what it says, of the 5 full-time, then you don't have to do, that's the way it's been forever. You know, we have 171 hours that we have to work, because us and the fire are completely different from anybody else. 5 full-time people under the Department of Labor staff, then we don't have to pay, if you don't have to pay overtime, because we are an exempt employee at this time. As soon as we start being qualified for overtime, then we're non-exempt. But this has been the same way for years, it's 5 full-time, and that's, but if we got, just say we got Officer Baker coming in, and he's gonna do a 24-hour shift, what sense does that make? If we have another officer that can work 12 hours and Baker can work 12 hours, what benefit is a 24 hours on going to do? He's gonna sleep at some point, he's not gonna be rolling 24 hours.
I was talking to Dave earlier, and I didn't understand that either, that I don't think as many part-time officers we have, unless it doesn't match up with their full-time job, maybe that's the problem. I really don't think any officer ought to work over 12 hours max
Why
at
would
any
we have,
one shift.
it's like Baker doing 24, why would that even be
Yeah,
available?
and to me, that no officer should have, unless, they're all
Yeah,
part-time,
right.
they're all fill-in, so if
Exactly.
that doesn't match with their full-time job,
Mhm.
absolutely, but
if we-
I agree with you.
So if we had part-time people available, they would have to work 24 hours, each could work a 12-hour shift, but obviously we don't, because what we have on our roster right now is we have Jimmy, we got Grant, we got me. And Binker's has just been added, that's it, so we got 1
I
full-time.
can't help but think, Dave, that ought to be plenty.
Cheyenne's not on the roster
Yeah.
yet.
So, I think, so my advice to the council, and it's based on, I sought, with the council's permission, advice from attorneys who specialize in employment law, is that the Fair Labor Standards Act says the exemption applies to departments with, let me get it to them exactly, fewer than 5 law enforcement officers. So, 4. So,
Fewer than 5 would be 5.
right, but you're only exempt from paying overtime if you have fewer than 5 under the federal law, right? So 4 is the
Right.
max. And we specifically asked them, does that include part-time as well as full-time? And they said their opinion under that federal code is that it does.
Cool.
And they're looking at some other potential ways that we might get around that, and that's
Well,
underway
how
right
does
now.
Boyd County have 6 people on their part-time deal? O'Neill's got at least 6 or 8.
They might be paying overtime on that then. I mean,
But there's no limit on.
I visited
part-time.
with Chuck, they pay $23 an hour, I think they get $400 per diem. That's
No
it,
benefits.
that's it, no overtime, no nothing.
Anyhow, this is all for not because we don't know if I'm gonna get cleared or not, so just, you got a motion on the table, vote for it.
I have a motion by Chuck and a second by Helen. Does that still stand? Yep, okay.
Okay, then roll call.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
Riley,
No.
Jerry,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay. Number 5, discuss purchase of gun safe for the police department.
Got some figures from Jeff over here. He was just gonna get it on a deal on his own, so, and they're very expensive, Homic. And I thought maybe you could get one through Crowder's, the store or something there, but he said they don't handle them. And, they were Liberty safes, they're very expensive.
That's what I got, it's a 30 gun, I think I gave $700 at Baumgart's for.
I was gonna say, my suggestion is that Dave and Jimmy or whoever go down to Baumgart's and we need a better lockup for guns and evidence, Dave.
Mitchell Equipment sells gun safes. I bet
What's
Jason-
that?
Mitchell Equipment sells gun safes. I bet Jason has worked a deal with you where it's for local.
They do, I didn't.
Yeah, they did.
I
I
didn't
noticed
even
that.
think of
I'd rather
that.
see my tax.
I didn't even think of that, but
Yeah, we did.
you guys go down there and see what they got, and I'm just saying, I think things should be under more lock and key back there, so, and I think a gun safe is a good way to do
And
it.
once again, with us not being in charge, we couldn't bring that up. We got a free safe from Leo, and we never ever got it. So,
He never brought it?
we never ever got it because Tim never made the attempt to do anything with it. It was just blown off, and that's how it is, you know. And as for
I
having
just think we
missing
need one
places
in
and
there.
everything. All this, no disrespect to Tim, we were here 20 years together. A lot of this stuff, I had no control over. I had no control over what he bought, nothing. Grant can, you know, I keep going to Grant, but man, you gotta speak up because you know what it was. Equipment in your car, you didn't get nothing, it's all
There's a lot of
yours.
things that were not bought and paid for.
Well, you got it on
There's
our
things that I
chalkboard, shit we
paid
did
for
it.
myself.
You bought it yourself, it's
What-
on a chalkboard, been waiting since you started, you wrote it down.
Where
So,
does the vehicle computer go that's in there?
in my truck, apparently. They're supposed to come and hook them all up and everything, you know, been doing that for how long? So.
And that's nothing that you could do
I'm
without
not a
Tim's
computer
approval?
guy, heck, no, I wouldn't have a clue on how to do it. Maybe Grant can do it, but I don't know any idea.
No, I meant get it lined up.
Oh, yeah. It depends on who you wanna have it, you know, I don't know, those guys were all supposed to come through and hook that all up, and we were supposed to have little things on our
Pay a
trucks.
monthly fee
How
for
is it
hookup.
reading?
It's not very good.
Okay.
Cause sometimes those get outdated too, and then
Holy crap, we paid $3,500 a piece, and they ain't even went online yet.
Is yours online, Grant, in your truck, in your car?
I mean, other than getting
Is it
internet.
powered up so that I can use it? Yeah. Or there's stuff on it? Not
Can
the.
you run everything you need to do from when you go? You mock and all that stuff?
Don't,
Not
don't,
the
don't, am I wrong, Grant? Aren't
You
they,
don't need a motion
aren't they
approve
just
it.
to do
Just move on to the
internet
next- they just
on a
need to
fire
discuss
stick or something?
The purchase of it.
They're not able to write tickets.
Yes,
They will write tickets?
yes, we pay for the service, we've been
Mocks and
paying for it
track.
for 2 years.
Okay.
Mocks and tracks, so the citations, the accident reports, the e-citations, which is mandatory by the state,
See, I didn't.
the e-traffic reports, they'll be emailed to the state, Department of Transportation. You do warning citations on it, you have to do your annual reporting on that site.
So they're more up and running than I know.
We pay for the service, but none of the only one computer has been ever logged into. And that was in November 22nd of 2022 is what's taken.
We wasn't in CJIS for 20 years and never had that. Any of that on our stuff.
I did not know that. Thank you.
We wanted, we haven't been able to, never mind, it's passed, so whatever.
Okay. So we're gonna get this gun safe.
Check into it, Mitchell Equipment.
They'll deliver it with a forklift and bring it in.
And they'll, yeah. Do you guys wanna go up and do that? You guys know what you need, not me,
Is
but,
that gonna constitute me working though?
so,
Because I've
well,
been,
probably.
you know,
we'll have to wait till Monday.
Let's see what you find out.
Hold your breath, cross your fingers
Yep.
when you walk in.
If you're not released, we'll have Jimmy take a look at it and we'll get it bought, so.
And on as for that, I did call when the adjuster, I talked to her, she said that, anything like, cause I got the task force meeting coming up for human trafficking. That was all my own time, I never ever got paid or anything, cause it was during the day where I never, so that's not actually working. And then the 1184 meeting, they're on Zoom, so. And I'm gonna have to get an exemption from somebody, the training center or somebody, because I've got 32 hours I had to come up with, and I'm already in July for training, so. If I do that online now, does that constitute working, you know?
You have to have that done by December 31st of this year. There's a lot of agencies that, I don't have all my hours done, but they're still available. There's host agencies, O'Neill PD, Rock County's doing one, Antelope County, Neely PD's doing one. All the LB 51 that's required is there. You just have to
I
make,
would guess, Dave, that
Get it done.
question you need to run by your workman's comp representative or whoever.
I did.
Whoever that
And they
is.
said that was fine.
As long as, that'd be the person to make that decision.
And that's what they said.
Hopefully,
Workers'
this-
comp was here.
hopefully
Sure.
tomorrow this is all passed, cause you'll be back and, you know what I mean?
And if I'm not, then I guess I'll have to wait for the next one to.
That's all you can do,
Okay,
Well, we
so,
don't want you to jeopardize your workman's comp.
That's the main thing that I was always thinking of, talking, asking, yeah.
You don't really wanna mess with workers with comp.
okay, so we'll get the gun safe.
It's a joke.
Okay,
It's true.
number 6, discuss approve a building permit for Six Pack LLC to construct a 70 by 26 wood frame home at 108 East South Street. There was a thing in your packet of what the houses.
Did it meet all the,
On this one, we have to do an administrative subdivision, which is gonna be a lot split. It's just a paper application that they have to fill out, because the lots ran east and west, 510 and 512 east or South William Street. Now they want, this house on the east is gonna run north and south, but the front door will be at 510 South William Street. This house on the west is gonna have its front door to the south. So now therefore, those lots are gonna run north and south. So they have to do this lot split, they have to have it surveyed, and then I have to take it to the courthouse, pay the fee so that they can get that lot split, cause they have to have that before they can sell it.
So do we
Well-
have to,
why is the application in if they have to do all this?
It only will affect their selling it. It is not, this application doesn't even come to you guys for approval. It's basically they have to survey it, and then they give me 3 copies of the completed surveys with signatures, and then I go to the courthouse and pay the plat filing fee, and then it's, cause they're not actually splitting the lot, they're changing the direction of the lots.
Yeah, I've heard this.
So it's not a big deal, and if they were gonna continue to, if the same person was gonna continue to own it, it would be fine. But when they went to sell it, it would be an issue, because the lots are not right.
so we can go ahead and approve?
I guess
Yep.
that would be their problem, not ours.
Yeah, that's
on
their
them.
problem.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
Is this
so-
the one that had the sidewalk on the north and south?
That
and
might be
east side?
something you wanna add into it.
Well,
I make a motion, we approve the building permit for the 70 by 26, 108 East South Street, supposedly.
Second.
I'll second.
discussion, do you realize that the building permit on the sidewalk is not checked, that they took them out?
Oh,
And it's not checked that they're putting them back? So,
there we go again, yeah.
yes, so, to me, this application is not complete. I just bringing that up, cause we have been down this road so many times
There was a sidewalk
on the east side.
East side.
Adjournment. Gary's on his way to a doctor's appointment, so he's
Is there neighboring sidewalks, I mean, continuing on,
well, it's the end of the block.
in the block?
I'm just bringing it up, if we're gonna do everything by the books, let's do things by the books.
Can you approve it contingent on doing the sidewalk or not?
Whatever you guys wanna do, I'm 1 out of 6. I just think we cross this bridge every damn time we come to it, and we always get burned.
We're not getting anywhere with this.
So I don't know. Are they going to build on this from, what is this? What's the date? It's the 20th? Are they gonna build from this to the August meeting?
They're waiting for this approval to start the footings, so.
Why wasn't the permit filled up correctly?
I didn't know that there was a sidewalk, so.
I really didn't either, but there was.
Well, we either.
Whatever you guys
We
want.
either have to uphold the sidewalk deal, or we have to
You
go
wanna
on
make you wanna make whatever that word Jerry said is, that's fine, but come on, let's stop this. We're gonna hold certain standards, let's hold standards. I mean, come on.
Yes.
This just goes on and on and on.
That's the conversation me and you had
Right,
on ordinances and how
right.
we,
I mean,
for us and Gary, are supposed to go
You know,
and enforce that.
I was
that's
with
like a
Gary about other sidewalks, and Gary feels like I do. You just kind of feel like you're out there. Are you going to enforce them?
Okay, so
Aren't
we
you?
gotta put a sidewalk.
If you wanna make that on your motion, that's one thing, I guess, but.
I'll add to the motion, need to have that verified by our ordinance enforcement,
Contingent, okay, hold on.
contingent on the enforcement of the sidewalk stipulations.
It's petty, I know, but, gotta be good. And this outfit, I don't know, they really should, this isn't.
So what do you put?
So I put, Jerry has the motion, Chuck has the second to approve the 6-pack building permit at 510 South Williams, contingent on enforcement of sidewalk stipulations, which means they have to replace the sidewalk.
I mean, if they took it out, yes. If they prove that there never was one there,
No, there was. I used to walk to church on it.
go, okay.
So replace the sidewalk, how do I want to replace sidewalk?
Well, that was, yeah.
That was
Or
removed.
ordinances, I guess, if we're gonna have.
follow the ordinance.
Okay, I'll add that, we'll add that in the letter that goes out to them.
Okay, so now roll call.
Bubba? You guys, that was the 108 east-south. Was there a sidewalk going east and west along South Street?
Not that I'm aware.
So that's the one you're on.
There was one on north and south.
The one on the north-south is the 510 South Williams. That's the next agenda item.
Oh, they're splitting that.
They're splitting that.
Okay.
So you're on the 108
Save
east-south,
what
which
I
is
said
gonna
till
run
the
east
next
and
one.
west.
Yeah.
Okay,
So what he
This,
said.
this douchebag apologizes.
get
Okay,
this
so
all recorded.
South sidewalk, 510 Williams, is it
What's that?
continuing on the east end?
I'm reaching the point where I don't care what it said, what it said. I'm reaching my.
Okay, so, okay, stop, whatever Ron just said, that applies to number 7.
Okay, so we'll rescind that.
And number 6 is all okay.
So are we ready to do roll on that one?
Can we second that? Yep.
Yep. Okay, so Ron,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Scott, and Chuck.
Yes.
Do we wonder why we have confusion?
Number 7, discuss approve a building permit for 6-pack LLC to construct a 50 by 42 wood frame home at 510 South William Street. Now, this is the one with the sidewalk.
Thanks.
Sidewalk.
So, everything else looked okay.
So we just need a motion and a
Motion to
second.
approve it. Motion approved.
Contingent on the sidewalks.
Yep, Chuck.
Contingent on the sidewalk.
Who did somebody say? I didn't hear.
Need a second. Did you do it first, Chuck?
Yeah.
Second.
Take whoever, I don't care.
Second. Shane second.
Scott seconded.
Now roll call.
Helen? Yes. Riley?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And Ron?
Yes. Okay, need a motion.
To adjourn.
I'm enjoying this, I ain't leaving.
We make our own agenda now?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Jerry?
Then roll call.
Jerry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Ron? Helen? Yes. And Riley?
Okay, it's adjourned.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We'll work through this. We'll do gooder.